Another episode of What's Next podcast. I'm your host, Mario Maitland. We got a very special guest on for today, Miss Masai Russell, coming on What's Next podcast, talk a little bit about her journey and what's next. Since she's on What's Next, we're going to talk about what's next, what's coming up next for you. A little bit about who you are as a person outside of track and field. What are some things and interests or passions, I guess, that you have outside of the sport?
Yeah, so I'm really passionate about like content creation, influencing those who are younger than me or older than me. You know, if you go on my Instagram, my TikTok, I like to dance, take pictures. So that's a little bit about the things that I like to do, like off the track directly.
Of course. Do you call yourself an entertainer? Because I know you're an influencer, but a lot of people think you're entertaining as well. So I don't know. Do you call yourself an entertainer?
I mean, I guess in a way. You go to my TikToks, you get entertained. You see the dances, you see what I do. So
for sure.
In a way, but put me in front of a large crowd, I'm not doing nothing.
You're not doing it?
No.
Okay, that's fine. We won't do that. That's why we're not doing that on What's Next podcast. Walk me through a day in the life of Masai Russell. What does that look like for your fans, for anybody who looks up to you? What does that look like for you?
For me, it looks like weights in the morning. Probably take a little nap in between, practice, edit some videos, record some stuff, talk to somebody, chill with my man.
Yeah,
like I said, go to practice. I be in practice for like 4 hours out of the day, and then go home, get in my meal.
It's a lot of work that you got to put in, of course, and then you got your time to rest up and get. You have a really good work balance, I guess, work-life balance. Put in the work and then enjoy, outside time. You're just coming from Austin, Texas, and had a successful run down there. Well, what's I guess favorite moment as a Wildcat?
Wow, that's a hard question because I've had a lot of great moments,
Man.
but one of the major moments that I have to say is when I was a freshman, and I ran like an 8:18 in the 60 hurdles, and that was like a major PR for me. And I went back to the tent, and all my teammates were so happy for me. Like, they were more happy than me, and that was just really big for me because in high school I wasn't able to like talk about my success. So to see like teammates that are genuinely happy for you, that really, really was like a major impactful thing in my college career.
I bet. As I want to get into your mind a little bit. As you're going into the meet, a general meet, you have any superstitions or pre-rituals that you do?
Nah.
That's what's up.
The only thing I know is go. So it ain't nothing added to the pie that I need to add.
For sure. Now you're also known as the Queen Hurdle. You got a nice hurdle right here for me, which I'm going to have you teach me a little bit about hurdling. And before I even get my actual trying, what are some things I must do so I don't trick this up?
This is Masai Russell from the University of Kentucky, and what she just achieved is absolutely insane. At the 2023 Red Raider Open in Texas Tech, she just ran the fastest time in NCAA history in the women's 60-meter hurdles, breaking the previous collegiate record by 0.03 seconds. With a finishing time of 7.75 seconds, she not only improved on her own personal record by more than a tenth of a second, but she also just became the 12th fastest indoor performer in the history of this event, now comparable with some of the greatest athletes in the history of athletics.
So when you're approaching the hurdle, don't bend your legs, nothing. Like, go over it I don't know which one's your strong leg?
I guess my right leg. I mean, I'm not sure. I never did this, so.
Okay, so all right. So first, I'm just gonna push you.
Okay.
Stand straight.
All right.
Stand straight. Both your feet together. Okay, so this is gonna be your lead leg.
Oh boy, I don't like that. It feels a little weak.
See, it's gonna feel like that, but that's the leg that's your strong leg, because that's the leg that you use to stop yourself.
Okay.
So, well, actually do whatever's comfortable for you.
All right, you said that, so I'm gonna just do it.
But like I said, make sure your leg is straight when you're approaching it.
Okay.
And then the trail leg is the most important leg. This leg gonna get over, but the trail leg, you gotta make sure that it clears that hurdle.
So I want to get this over and then make sure I
bring
some
this
baggage
around.
I got you.
Bring it around town.
All right, you gotta let me know how I do here, okay? You get a little. Yeah, thank you.
Don't fall.
Just don't judge me. Don't judge me. I'm stressed today.
That's what I'm saying. Are you stressed? Don't pull nothing.
This is going over. This is coming. Okay.
Yep, don't think just do.
Right.
Oh my god, not like that.
Oh! Did I do it? Okay. All right, retry.
Do it.
I think I'm stuck in basketball mode. A little bit. So this is going over and then this is coming
Coming through like,
I got you. Here we go. Here we go.
That was better than the last time.
Hey,
But
we'll
you,
take it.
I mean, that's better than the other one. You kind of went through it, but
Okay,
you still was like
okay.
straddled over the hurdle.
You can see that I got a progress. I'm getting some progress.
Yeah.
Here. I got some potential.
One more, third time's the charm.
All right. You said get my last
Yeah, come
leg
on,
in
like
there.
drive it through. Run through it. Bring some speed.
Oh, God!
That wasn't that bad.
Well,
That wasn't that bad. He didn't do bad. He didn't do that bad.
I got to step back, ladies and gents, but it's okay, man. It's not about me. It's about Masai Russell today. So don't judge me on that last hurdle. We're going to talk about Masai Russell and her journey and what she got coming up next. So stay tuned.
Let's talk about, I want to get to know you as a person. Masai, the name Masai, where does that come from? That's not a lot of people's named, Masai. You have a unique name. We'll talk a little bit about your name, Masai.
Yeah, so the way that it came about, for one, my name was going to be Diamond.
Diamond.
And my mom was like, absolutely not. My dad was like, absolutely not. So they did not know what my name was going to be, like, up until maybe 2 or 3 weeks till I was born.
Okay.
And they seen this store. It was called Masai Designs. And they were like, oh, my gosh, like that name sounds like really, really good, whatever. So it ended up being an African tribe in like Kenya. So that's kind of what it means. They didn't know the actual meaning of my name to begin with. So at first when I was younger, I did not like my name. I'm like, no one has my name. No one knows how to pronounce my name. No one knows how to spell my name. Yeah. But now it's like, when you hear Masai, like, only person you think of is me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because it's unique. No one has that name.
Yeah. So they seen it on the store, and then it ended up having a deeper meaning than what they seen. So
that's a very cool story.
Yeah.
Just came back from Austin, Texas, national championship tournament you guys had down there. How was that experience for you?
It was great. It was a great experience. I would have loved to come home with the national title.
Yeah.
But nothing happens before it's time.
For sure.
But I went out there and scored 18.75 points for my team, and I put more than half the points on the board that our team scored. I think we finished like 6th or 7th as a team. So for me to be able to put all those points up, like as an individual, I was super happy, and I'm glad to have closed out the way that I did with my team.
Yeah, that's very unique, because basically, like, you're making your team proud at the same time. I'm sure they expect you to do great, but to be able to come through and have them depend on you, that's what's up. That's what's up. And you be able to step up to the plate. That's what's up. I want to talk a little bit about Kentucky. Now, you're here at the University of Kentucky. How did you even get to Kentucky? Like, how did that work? Because I know that's you have a unique story of how you got here. Talk a little bit about that and how you got to Kentucky.
Yeah, so for me, I wasn't coming to Kentucky to begin with. I had like the craziest recruitment process.
Right.
First, I was verbally committed to Texas A&M, and then I actually signed to University of Tennessee. And then the coach that was recruiting me just stopped hitting me up. I'm like, what's going on? Like, what's going on?
Just out the blue?
Out of the blue. And then I seen that he was coming to Kentucky, so I seen it on Twitter. I was like, what's going on? Like, you're the reason why I came to this school. So he ended up coming to Kentucky. He ended up reaching out to us, my family and I, and told us that he still had money for me. So I didn't know anything about Kentucky. Only time I came to Kentucky was for our high school invitational. Okay. So I ended up coming. It ended up being the best school out of every school I visited. I visited some pretty good schools. I don't know if you want me to list them.
No, go ahead, please.
I went to University of Florida, University of Georgia, Texas A&M, University of Miami, and University of Tennessee.
Miami. Wow.
And so I went to like some really, really good, like, SEC, one ACC school, and Kentucky was not in my top 5, top 6 at all. And like I said, I got the family feeling when I first came. I took no visit. I was literally looking up the dorms like on YouTube because I had no idea about anything that I was getting myself into. And the fact that like I'm still here 5 years later, like, just speaks to how amazing like Kentucky is.
For sure. Now you're from Maryland, right? Mm-hmm. How did you cope with leaving from home, Maryland, to Kentucky? Now, did you visit Kentucky ever before, deciding to come here?
Yeah, I did. Like I said, when I ran at the high school invitational, I think just like 2 years back to back, but I didn't see anything else. When I hear Kentucky, I'm like, oh no, they're like, this is country.
Country, right?
Ain't nobody coming here. Yeah. That's what I was thinking in my mind. So Kentucky was, like I said, never was on my mind because of like, it's Kentucky.
Yeah,
Like every school that I listed
I was gonna say,
seems like it has more. But
as someone like not from Kentucky, I guess it was a shock coming here and seeing that hey, it's not as country as people might think. It's actually pretty
it's cool.
urban. Yeah, it's cool.
That's what
it's
I tell
cool.
people all the time.
It's definitely cool. So I want to bring it back to your childhood. Why did you decide to get into the sport of track and field? You've been doing this from such a very young age. Like, why did you decide to come?
Honestly, my brothers, they ran before me. I think I was doing like gymnastics, but every little girl does gymnastics. And then I see my brothers running. I'm like, oh, I want to run. So they went out to practice, and then I ended up going out to practice there with them. They ended up falling off because they wasn't as good as me, clearly. And I was the only one that continued to run. I've been running since I was 8 years old. It's the only sport that I've ever done competitively, and it's brought me this far. So,
what do you love most about track and field?
I love the pureness of the sport. Like, what you put into it is gonna come out. Like, it's as pure as it can be. Like, you can't hide in track and field. You can't at all. Like I said, what you put into it is what's going to show.
It's like if you're good, you're good.
You're good, exactly.
Yeah,
it's not like you can't really get held up by a team. You can't get held up by anybody else. It's like it's all on you. That's what makes it really, really nerve-wracking. But, like, when you know that you put the work in and you have confidence in that, like, you gonna slide.
Yep. You can trust your work ethic.
Right.
Speaking of your work ethic, what's your training routine look like normally? Like, what does it look like for you?
So for me, throughout the week, if we do have a meet, it's a little different than when we don't. So when we do have a meet, I would like short hurdle on Mondays, long hurdle on Tuesdays. If you don't understand that, like 100 hurdles and then 400 hurdles, Monday and Tuesday, then off on Wednesday. Okay. Then Thursday, I will kind of do the same thing, either run or do a short hurdle workout, and then on Friday be a long workout. And then if I do compete, we won't do anything like after Wednesday because that's when the meet will most likely start. So like Monday, like I said, I'll do like a short hurdle workout, 100 hurdle workout. Tuesday, I'll do a long hurdle workout, and then Wednesday just lift and be off, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, then I'll compete. But if we do have a meet, if we do or don't, we have lift 3 days a week. So we lift in the morning. So you're
always in the gym.
Always in the gym 3 days a week. It's like even if I'm off, I'm not really off. It's just I'm not running on the track.
How do you balance that though? Especially someone of your magnitude, your persona. I guess like how do you got so much things that you got to juggle. Relationships, family, and then everybody knows you're YouTube famous, all that. Like the
YouTube famous is crazy.
Yeah, like how do you balance that?
Instagram, 37K. I don't think that's YouTube famous yet. Maybe when I hit 100K.
Nah, you'll get there for sure. I think you will. But like, how do you balance it? I guess I want to know. Give us some advice.
I wish I could tell you. I don't know how I do it. I feel like I'm just such a driven individual. So I know that I don't know how it's going to get done, but it's going to get done. Like, in the back of my mind, I just know it's always going to get done. Yeah. And I think what keeps me so grounded is that I keep the main thing. Like, when it comes to track and field, like, I know that a lot of these opportunities won't be available if it wasn't for track and field. So I always keep that at the forefront. And then, like, everything else is, like, I don't want to say it's secondary because ever since, like, I started doing NIL and doing brand deals and content creation and everything like that, like, that's a job within itself. And I going into this year, I was like, I don't want to do too much on the social media side because I want to focus on track
and field, right?
I just think that it's just about a balance because when you're making money, it's going to be hard work regardless. And like I said, I have NIL because of track, so I can't throw either one away because both are growing in the process.
That totally makes sense. Does the NIL, can that become a distraction for you?
See, I feel like it can become a distraction when you are accepting deals around meet time. So that's where I kind of didn't. Okay. It was a gray area last year because I didn't really understand. I was at indoor nationals and I was submitting content to a brand. I'm like, I don't need to be worried about this. I need to be worried about competing. But if it's earlier in the week or the week before, I don't really see a problem with
that
it.
Makes sense.
You just have to understand that there are deadlines, and when you sign a contract, it doesn't matter what you have going on. If this is the obligation that you have, then that's what you have to do. But I didn't make that mistake this year. Like at NCAA's this year, like I was chilling, even indoor, I was chilling. Like I had did my work like before I left, and then it's just about like time management. So as long as you understand that, then you'll be good. Yeah.
It's a lot of time management that goes into it, balancing your time, knowing when's the right time to do this and when to do that. You look like you have that all figured out. Now, expectations, of course, come with that. How do you deal with the pressure and the expectations of being, such a high performance athlete like yourself? Like, how do you deal with the expectations?
I mean, honestly, I don't really think about like what people think that I should do. As an individual, I know what
you should do,
what I need to do, and I know what I'm capable of. So I feel like my sophomore year, I kind of had a problem with like grasping around that. I'm like, I have to do this to gain followers. I have to do this to keep my fan base. I have to do this, when realistically I don't have to do anything but be myself and be good. And I know like when I'm good and when I work hard and I have confidence in my ability, then I mean it's going to show. Like I said, nothing happens before it's time. So like everything that I did this year, it wasn't like I wasn't doing it for nobody else. It was just I know what I got to do, and the followers either going ride with me or they not. So it doesn't really matter, because I'm not really in it for like followers. Like I've just been someone that attracts people, but I'm never like, follow me, pick me. Like it's just people follow me for just who I am.
Naturally, it happens. That's how it should be. That's how it should be. I want to talk a little bit about, let's see, your most influential figures, people that you look up to. This doesn't have to be now. It can be, while you were growing up. Who are some mentors or, influential figures that you looked up to?
I have to say, like, my mom, she's been, like, a really, really, really big influence, just because she's a doctor herself. Like, we're in two different, ends of the spectrum, but she's a black individual who literally came from nothing, and she paved the way.
Right.
She showed that she never needed, like, she never complained about anything. She just worked hard. She got what she wanted, what she worked for.
Exactly.
So, and she treated people good in the process, and now like she was able to support us while growing up, and she's just a boss, So like that's kind of how I want to be seen.
I can tell you look up to her, and then you try to take a lot of things from your mother. We talked a little bit about the NIL situation. You're the first female college athlete to sign an NIL deal. What's going through your mind? Did you know at the time when they're telling you, like, you didn't know?
No, I did not know. Wait, that's I was the first college athlete.
You were the first female college athlete to join NIL.
Wow. I didn't know. I didn't even know that.
You were the first one.
I didn't even know. I know that I was like on like top 10 like lists of like individuals who had like one of the top 10 most followed student athletes in the NCAA. I know I was on that list, but I didn't know that fact.
Well, now you know. What's next is providing that info for you, man.
Period.
That's what's up. Now you know. Awesome. Track and field has so much lessons and valuable things that you learn throughout the whole process. What's the most valuable lesson you're walking away from track and field? And obviously you're not done yet, but you're from your career here at the University of Kentucky all the way back to when you started when you were 8 years old. What's the most valuable lesson that you learned, I guess?
The most valuable lesson I would have to say is that track and hurdles truly teaches you to stay in your lane, to focus on what you have going on in your lane, not worried about what someone else has or what God is blessing somebody else with. What's going to be for you, it's going to be. So focusing on your lane, and when hurdles come into your lane, they might fall down, but you're going to get over it, type of thing. So that's pretty much what I've learned from it, because comparing yourself to other people, I think I've been really, really good at not doing that. Which is why I feel like I've gained so much success, because it's so easy to just compare yourself to what this person has or what this person has, but God is not going to continue to bless you if you just saying, why not me, or where's mine? You have to be thankful for where you're at.
So one thing that really stood out to me while you were just explaining, staying in your lane, not looking, next to the next person, especially in a race or anything like that. When you do mess up, and that often does not happen to you, but when you do, how do you bounce back? So you can tell me on the field when you're running a race, what's your mindset like? And then tell me life in general. How do you bounce back?
See, I feel like for me, it just sounds so cliche, but I don't really ever look at anything as a failure, or I didn't hit the mark. Like, of course, physically you can miss the mark, but like I think it's just about how you see it, because there's always something that you can take out of a loss. Like, I was so sad after NCAA indoor, because like that was my first race that I lost all season, and I just felt like all my hard work, like it's like this was something, like this is my year, like this is. I'm like, I had to backtrack. I'm like, last year I wasn't even the topic of discussion. Now I'm the number 2 hurdler ever to touch a collegiate track. Like, it's not number 1, but it's better than what you were doing last year.
You gotta remind yourself.
You always have to remind yourself. So I don't really feel like I see things as like a failure. It's like, this is where I'm at. This is what I have. How can I grow from it? I think that's why, like, I'm just so like I just keep moving. I don't really like staying like where I'm at, you know?
Yeah, I like that. I think I love the way, you know, you always take, I always tell my friends and my family, you know, always to take a look back and see how far you've come, you know, because we're so focused on, you know, just getting our goals in front of us.
Right.
It's like, hey, we should take a moment. Hey, look what I did last year, like how you said, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's probably that's some good advice. I wanna before we get into our next segment, which our next segment, we're gonna open it up to some fans, your fans who, you know, basically submitted some questions on our social media part. Team USA. I want to talk a little bit about that. What does that look like for you in the future? Now, there's a number of people that, you know, that has came through the University of Kentucky. You know, Sydney McLaughlin, Abby Steiner. I guess, like, what does the Team USA look like for you in the future, Masai?
Yeah, so I'll be trying out for Team USA July 6th through the 9th. And if I make that team, well, when I make the team,
there you go.
We're going to be going out to Budapest. But I'm excited because I've never made a senior team. I've only made, like, junior teams, like 20 and under teams. So this would be the first team that I'll have a really, really, like, great shot at making the team and, you know, being on the senior team, because the World Championships is, like, literally a step below the Olympics, and it's just going to matriculate to a even better season next year to know that, like, I was already in the mix. Now, like, I'm really, like, in my bag, because I get better every single year. That's all I'm saying. Like, I've never stayed the same, man.
You
like,
got that dog mentality. You got a dog mentality for sure. I love to hear
tell?
Yeah, I could tell for sure. Let's open up our next segment. Let's get our fans' questions in there. We get that. Oh, we don't have that? Okay. Yeah, it's on that. It's on that. You can just bring it to me. I'll show, or just go. Yeah.
On Instagram?
Yeah, it was blowing up all day.
For real?
Yeah.
At least I got high engagements. There's some people, they be having hella followers, 2 likes. Cut that part out.
Reality that. Right, let's see what we got here. So, we got a lot of fans that want to know, you know, their questions. Do you plan to go pro? Let's start off with that. Do you plan to go pro? You're my biggest idol. I had to add that in there.
Yeah, pro, of course, is the plan. I'm in the process now of signing with an agent, and then once I get me a good agent on my team, then they'll be able to pitch me to whatever brand. So, to be determined on that, but yes, I am going pro.
For sure. You guys have that there. Who are you? Wow, these are.
Yeah, who you signing with? That's gonna be the big topic of discussion too. I'm not telling nobody.
Yeah, she's not giving that out, guys. So don't.
Till I pop out like this.
Did you always run hurdles?
No, I didn't. Crazy to say. I'm really new to hurdling.
Okay.
Before I came to college.
It's hard, by the way, man. Like,
yeah, it's not easy. You're running full speed into a barrier. But the 400 hurdles was the first hurdling event that I ever did in my life. Like, I wasn't even supposed to be a 100 hurdler.
Yep.
400 hurdles was my thing. Like, when I made the USA team, my first time, I was a 400 hurdler. It was my junior year in high school. I never touched the short hurdle. I never looked at it. Yeah. It was just, I was a long hurdler, and that's what I was going to go to college for. So then after in my senior year in high school, I was just like, let me just try it, because like I'm just kind of like athletic. Like, if you put me into something, I could just kind of just do it.
Yeah, jump in.
I hit the 3-step real easy. It was like a little long because that's the amount of steps that we take in between the hurdles. So I hit the 3-step. I was like, hold on, not me beating my friends who really be training for this. So then I think I started to gain a little confidence.
Yeah.
But my 60 hurdles was trash. It was terrible. So like I said, coming into college, I wasn't like, I'm going to be a short hurdler. It was I'm going to be a long hurdler, and that's just going to be that. But I only ran the 100 hurdles 4 times before coming to college. And, I mean, to be the collegiate record holder now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
4 or 5 years. But I always used to tell, like, my friends and my coaches, like, when I get my technique down, I'm going to be good. When I get my technique down, because it's so technical. And I was a long hurdler first. So, I mean, it might sound like you might not understand, but like when you're like a 400 hurdler, your technique doesn't have to be as clean and quick and pristine because it's 400 meters. Whereas like the 60 hurdles and the 100 hurdles, it's real short. You don't have any time for any margin of error, and you have to be like, your technique has to be literally flawless. So my technique was like more of like a 400 hurdler kind of like vibe. Like it was just so like I was like, okay, I'm still doing kind of good with this bad technique. Like I just knew, like I just kept working. Like I was like, when I figure this out and when I'm like able to learn how to get down and run and stop being so high over these hurdles, like I'm gonna be a problem. So like I said, it's
that confidence.
Yeah, fairly pretty new, but still a lot of work to be done.
I like it. You talked a little bit about your coaches and how you were telling them, like, hey, I'm going to get this down. And when I do, you're going to have to respect me, right? Who are some of the coaches, that have had a major impact on your success?
Definitely my coach, Daryl, and he was like my AAU coach. And then every time I go back home, he is always like, do you need a track? Do you need a workout? You need me to time you? Him, my coach Derek, he's my hurdle coach when I was in high school. So he was the one that kind of like helped me with hurdles, like started getting my technique better. And Coach Green and Coach Hall, like those are the coaches that are at Kentucky, and they've literally, Coach Hall was the one who actually recruited me here, and Coach Green is actually my direct coach. So they have literally believed in me
since the very start.
From the very start, like before I believed in myself. And my Coach Hall, who doesn't even coach me no more, he told me, I don't remember him saying this, but he said that you were always going to be a great short hurdler that could do the 400 hurdles when he recruited me for the 400 hurdles. So I don't know how he knew that, but
he's seen it all along.
He's seen it before I did, because I was like, my freshman year, I was ready to be done with the short hurdles. I was like, oh, this is just, I'm not running fast. Like, let me just be a 400 hurdler. And I'm glad I didn't give up.
Yeah, exactly. You said it. You didn't give up. I mean, you kept with it, regardless of what happened. That's inspiring, Masai. What I want to do before I close this thing out, Masai, I try to open it up to my people behind the camera if they have any other questions. Because we're a team here on What's Next podcast. So if you guys have any questions behind the camera, what's it going to be? Feel free to ask.
What got you into influencing, and what advice would you give to someone who's starting out?
Well, it's so weird to say that, like, starting out, because I've always been someone who just loves to take pictures, loves to take videos. If you go back on my Facebook, like, you're going to see videos of me dancing, singing, like, just doing the whole nine. I've always been an individual who just attracted to, like, the camera and the phone. So I don't want to say, like, I actually I guess the name influencer has just been attached to who I am, but I never really got into it to influence. It's just people started following me for me, and then now it's like, oh, I'm an influencer because of the followers,
It's more like it's natural, like it's part of your personality.
But anytime I would give anybody advice in terms of like wanting to gain followers or wanting to do anything in that space, I would just say be authentic, be yourself, because that's how I gained it. I don't know how anybody else gains it, but with the advice that I could give anybody is just to be yourself, because there's someone out there that has the same similarities or can relate to you in a way. So that's my biggest advice.
It's a great question, by the way, Javen, behind the camera.
I was going to ask what you studied in undergrad and what you're studying in graduate school and how you chose that and how well it fits with track and field.
So I got my degree in sports communication and a minor in health promotion, and then I got my grad certificate in sports recreation and management. And I mean, it kind of speaks to itself. I'm big in sports, and I'm big on communication and content creation and, you know, all of that. So I just felt like it really spoke to what I do on a consistent basis. And I mean, it's something that I could see myself doing later after like the sports thing, doing like media broadcasting or sports broadcasting. Cause like, I think I like being in front of the camera, I would say.
That's funny. You got any others? No?
Probably no questions. Come on, ask me a question.
All right, we seen behind the camera, we seen your jab step, and but you know, if you was to play another sport, what would it be?
If I played another sport, it'd probably be soccer, realistically, cause like I'm fast, so I feel like I just gotta learn the footwork, but definitely not. Oh, or gymnastics, like soccer or gymnastics, but football, basketball, swimming. Golf, I'm cool. I did cheerleading, but like, cause like I could flip, like I could still flip to this day, but no, nothing else.
I got you.
I play flag football though. That's fun.
Flag football is fun. I'll tell you that much.
I'll work everybody in here.
Not me. I'll tell you.
You're not getting away from me.
Rob has something to say about that.
So you know he's fast.
Where does this drive come from? Like siblings or just family? Just want to win everything?
Yeah, I feel like for me, my competitive nature and spirit probably comes from like being the only girl out of 3 brothers. Like growing up, they really was like, they didn't care that I was a girl, so I think I was just trying so hard to like keep up with them, getting knocked on my back, knocked on my head, everything. And I don't know if it's just because like I've been on the smaller side of individuals, like people never expect like the small one to do something. So I don't know if like subconsciously that's what makes me like, oh, I'm gonna prove you wrong type of thing. Because I've always been like when I was like 9 years old, oh my gosh, like I was a midget. Like I was still small, but yes, I was really, really tiny. So no one really ever expected anything from me. So I don't know if like subconsciously that has played a part in that. But yeah, my brothers are definitely a big part because I had it out for myself. Like,
man. Shout out to the Russell brothers, man. Shout out to those guys.
Love y'all.
Before I let you go, what's your best advice for anyone who wants to, you know, one day play track and field or have that, you know, like you said.
Hold on. You gotta say run track and field. You can't say play. Play is crazy.
Run track and field. Run track and field. Masai is actually gonna correct me, ladies and gentlemen. So run track and field. I guess like, what's your best advice to them?
Yeah, my best advice to anyone who wants to run in high school, run in college, is to always have faith in yourself, always have faith in your ability, trust your coach, trust yourself, trust your training. Your coach most of the time isn't doing it to hurt you. They only want the best for you. And try not to compare, you know, where you were before to where you are now. You know, sometimes you're elevated from a space because that's not where you are anymore. So I would just say, like, if you're in a space, just embrace it, trust it. Sometimes it might not always look clear, but you know, sometimes you got to stay the path because life, like I said, it has hurdles. So as long as you continue to attack and get over those hurdles, then, you know, you're just going to continue to be better and great, and it's just going to build more endurance for who you are as a person. So that's my advice to y'all. I love y'all.
Shout out to Masai Russell's fans. I want to ask you, I mean, of course I want to ask you this. This is the biggest question that I want to ask because we're on What's Next podcast and everybody's been waiting for this question. It's like, what's next for Masai Russell?
So what's next for me, of course, like I said earlier, is signing with an agent and then signing with a brand that I feel like aligns with who I am as a person. I feel like I worked really, really hard over these past 5 years. So I'm just glad that it's playing out the way that I had it to be playing out in my head. Like, Robbie could literally tell anybody, like last year after Nationals, I was literally crying like, this is going to be my last year. And if I don't make it happen, then I don't really know, like, what's next, because I didn't know what was next. I'm so invested into track, and the only thing that I really hold on to that I know is gonna like be sustainable is social media. But at that time, it still wasn't looking that clear in that way. So a lot has changed in a year. Like I said, stay the process, stay the course, because you never know like what God has for you. So.
Episodes and exclusive content, subscribe to What's Next with Rio.